In Seabrook, a tranquil valley town surrounded by the steadfast presence of looming mountains, life seemed destined for routine. Its inhabitants celebrated stability, finding joy in the rhythm of their days, whether in the fields, the workshops, or the small shops that dotted the cobbled streets. The mountains, like protective giants, nurtured the town's sense of isolation. But for Alex, they were a constant reminder of a world beyond his reach. Alex had always been a curious child. While others spent their time exploring the woods or playing along the riverbank, he preferred the solitude of his sketchbook. His fascination with form and function drove him to create designs that reimagined the ordinary: bridges that spanned impossible distances, water wheels that churned with effortless precision, and towers that seemed to defy gravity. It was as if his thoughts were too vast to be contained by the familiar boundaries of Seabrook. "Why can't you just draw normal things, Alex?" his father, Robert, asked one evening as he inspected one of Alex's sketches. Robert, a carpenter with calloused hands and a practical approach to life, struggled to understand his son's grand ideas. "A good table, a strong chair now that's useful. The world doesn't need so many towers." Alex's mother, Lila, watched the exchange with a soft smile. "Your father means well," she said later, as she prepared the dough for the bakery's morning bread. "Your drawings are beautiful, Alex. Maybe one day you'll design something truly special for Seabrook." Alex nodded, appreciating his mother's kindness. But her words, like his father's, weighed on him. He often climbed the hill overlooking the town to escape, sitting silently as he sketched. The mountains loomed large, framing the horizon, and Alex whispered to himself, "Someday, I'll create something that reaches beyond these walls." Here's the next chapter in Alex's journey, taking his story to new heights, with deeper emotional layers, challenges, and far-reaching impacts. This version will also highlight his legacy and the ongoing ripple effects of his actions. As Alex's reputation grew, so did the complexity of his projects. He was no longer designing for his hometown alone. His work began addressing global challenges, from disaster recovery structures to sustainable housing for underserved populations. However, success brought with it a new set of obstacles. During one of his largest projects, a suspension bridge designed to link two remote villages separated by a dangerous canyon, Alex encountered unforeseen setbacks. Weather conditions in the region were harsher than anticipated, delaying construction for months. Funding began to dwindle as donors questioned whether the project would ever be completed. Tensions rose among the team, and Alex felt the weight of responsibility bearing down on him. One evening, after yet another meeting where progress felt stagnant, Alex found himself questioning his abilities. "Maybe I'm in over my head," he confided to Mr. Clark, who remained a mentor and advisor even as Alex's career flourished. Mr. Clark smiled gently. "Engineering is as much about adapting as it is about planning," he said. "Every setback is a lesson, Alex. You've faced challenges before, you'll overcome this one too. Remember, it's not just about finishing the bridge, it's about the hope it represents." Inspired by Mr. Clark's wisdom, Alex restructured the project. He introduced modular construction techniques to build sections of the bridge in safer locations before assembling them on site. The changes required additional coordination and effort, but they allowed the project to move forward. Months later, when the bridge was completed, and families from both villages walked across it for the first time, Alex knew the struggle had been worth it. Through his journey, Alex built strong relationships with people whose lives were transformed by his work. One particularly meaningful bond was with Rosa, a young mother from one of the villages connected by his suspension bridge. Rosa had written Alex a heartfelt letter, thanking him for giving her family safer access to education, healthcare, and markets. "Before the bridge," Rosa wrote, "we felt cut off from the world. Now, it feels like we belong to something bigger." Touched by her words, Alex visited Rosa's village, where she proudly showed him the community garden she and her neighbors had started. "This bridge isn't just about crossing the canyon," she said. "It's about connecting us to each other and to opportunity." Moments like these reminded Alex of why he had pursued engineering in the first place. It wasn't just about designing structures, it was about building connections, fostering hope, and empowering people to dream beyond their limitations. As Alex's career matured, he found himself drawn to mentorship, remembering the guidance he had received from Miss Elena and Mr. Reyna Clark. Alex wanted to inspire the next generation of innovators. He began teaching part-time at universities and hosting workshops for students interested in engineering. One of his proudest moments came during a youth design competition he helped organize. Among the participants was a young girl named Amara, whose design for a portable solar water filter impressed Alex with its creativity and practicality. After the competition, Alex approached her. "Your design is incredible, Amara," he said. "What inspired you?" Amara smiled shyly. "My village struggles with clean water," she explained. "I wanted to create something that could help." Alex saw a reflection of his younger self in Amara's determination and offered to mentor her. Under his guidance, Amara's idea grew into a scalable project that brought clean water to dozens of communities. Watching her success unfold filled Alex with pride, reinforcing his belief in the importance of passing knowledge forward. Over time, Alex's work inspired a larger movement. Engineers, architects, and community leaders from around the world began adopting his principles of empathetic design, creating structures that not only addressed practical needs but also uplifted the human spirit. At an international conference on sustainable development, Alex was invited to deliver a keynote address. Standing before a crowd of innovators, policymakers, and students, he shared his journey, from sketching bridges in a small town to tackling global challenges. "One bridge," he said, "can connect more than two places. It can connect people to opportunities, to hope, and to each other. What we build matters, but why we build it matters even more." His words resonated deeply, sparking collaborations across borders. Architects and engineers began reaching out to Alex, eager to learn from his approach. Projects inspired by his work sprang up in regions facing a range of challenges, from rebuilding after natural disasters to addressing urban overcrowding. Despite his global influence, Alex remained grounded in his roots. He often returned to Seabrook, where his journey had begun, to visit his family, reconnect with old friends, and mentor aspiring young engineers in his hometown. On one such visit, Alex was invited to speak at the local school, his alma mater. Standing in the same classroom where Miss Elena had first encouraged him to pursue his dreams, Alex shared his story with a group of wide-eyed students. "The bridges I've built started here," he told them, holding up his old sketchbook. "Not just on these pages, but in the lessons I learned from this town, from people who believed in me and taught me the value of connection." After his talk, a young boy approached Alex with a question that stayed with him long after. "What's the most important bridge you've ever built?" the boy asked. Alex paused, smiling thoughtfully. "The next one," he replied. "Because every bridge, no matter how big or small, changes lives." Years passed, and Alex's contributions to engineering and humanitarian efforts were celebrated worldwide. Yet, his proudest moments weren't the awards or recognition, they were the small, personal connections he made along the way. One day, while visiting a project site in another country, Alex came across a young engineer who introduced herself as one of his mentee's students. "Your work inspired my mentor," she said, "and she inspired me. It's like your bridges, they keep growing and connecting people, even when you're not there." Hearing this brought tears to Alex's eyes. It was a reminder that his legacy wasn't just the structures he had built, it was the people he had empowered to dream, create, and make a difference. In his later years, Alex continued to push the boundaries of what was possible. Collaborating with aerospace engineers, he worked on a project to design modular habitats for lunar exploration, a project that combined his passion for innovation with his belief in building for the future. "This isn't just about reaching the stars," he told his team during a meeting. "It's about expanding humanity's horizons, about creating connections that remind us we're all part of something bigger."